Welcome to your Daily Bread TV. Today, let us listen to Sunday's readings. A reading from the book of Sirach. My child, conduct your affairs with humility, and you will be loved more than a giver of gifts. Humble yourself the more the greater you are, and you will find favor with God. What is too sublime for you seek not, into things beyond your strength search not. The mind of a sage appreciates proverbs, and an attentive ear is the joy of the wise. Water quenches a flaming fire, and alms atone for sins. A reading from the letter to the Hebrews. Brothers and sisters, you have not approached that which could be touched, and a blazing fire, and gloomy darkness, and storm, and a trumpet blast, and a voice speaking words such that those who heard begged that no message be further addressed to them. No, you have approached Mount Zion, and the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and countless angels in festal gathering, and the assembly of the firstborn enrolled in heaven, and God the judge of all, and the spirits of the just made perfect, and Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and the sprinkled blood that speaks more eloquently than that of Abel. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. On a Sabbath Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him, and the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man," and then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place so that when the host comes to you he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For every one who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who invited him, "When you hold a lunch or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors, in case they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Blessed indeed will you be, because of their inability to repay you, for you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Sunday Reflection. Today's readings remind us of the quiet strength and blessing that come with humility. In the book of Sirach we are told, "Conduct your affairs with humility, and you will be loved more than a giver of gifts." Sirach points out that true wisdom isn't found in showing off or seeking recognition, but in living humbly before God and others. Humility makes space for God's grace to work in us. The letter to the Hebrews then takes us deeper. It contrasts the terrifying experience of God's presence on Mount Sinai with the joyful and hopeful encounter we now have through Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant. Instead of fear, we are invited into communion with God, the angels, and all believers, because of Christ's sacrifice. Humility prepares our hearts for this holy encounter, since it acknowledges that we cannot save ourselves. We rely only on God's mercy. Finally, in the Gospel of Luke, Jesus tells a parable about choosing the lowest place at a banquet. It's not simply about table manners, it's about the posture of our hearts. When we stop seeking the highest seat or the greatest honor, we leave room for God to exalt us in His own time. Jesus also reminds us to invite those who cannot repay us: the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind. This is the kind of humility that reflects God's love, giving without expecting anything in return. Where in your life do you need to step down from seeking honor, and instead serve quietly, allowing God to lift you up in His time? Humility is not weakness. It is the strength to put others first, the wisdom to recognize our need for God, and the love that gives without seeking return. When we live this way, we already share in the banquet of God's kingdom. Thank you for listening to today's reading here on your Daily Bread TV. See you again next Sunday. God bless.